Have you ever been to the eye doctor and had that experience where they're like 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3? That footage was from these two cameras, the latest and greatest from DJI, the Osmo Action 5 Pro and the GoPro Hero 13. Let's compare what the footage and the audio sounds like from both of these latest and greatest flagship cameras, best action cameras on the market, and the key differences between them and what matters to you as a mountain biker. I will be showing a ton of different side-by-side shots of each of these cameras during this video with the out-of-the-box default settings so you can make your own decision on what looks best. By the way, you know what's important with these small cameras is when you have good lighting, bad lighting, how the shadows turn out, and how the wind sounds from the on-camera mics, which mics we will talk about much more later. GoPro, stop recording. Stop recording. All right, here's a little audio test. You can hear what it's like talking to the onboard, on-camera mics while climbing. All right, here's a little audio test. You can hear what it's like talking to the onboard, on-camera mics while climbing. Light breeze, actually it's kicking up right now. Oh, that's a nice headwind. Light breeze, actually it's kicking up right now. Oh, that's a nice headwind. And here's what it sounds like with no wind talking to each camera. And here's what it sounds like with no wind talking to each camera. But speaking of that, I don't know what kind of black magic DJI has going on with that onboard mic, but you know that shot from earlier? Listen to how it sounded on the GoPro versus a DJI when there was wind involved blowing right at the microphones and at me. I will be showing a ton of different side-by-side shots of each of these cameras during this video. I will be showing a ton of different side-by-side shots of each of these cameras during this video with the out-of-the-box default settings so you can make your own decision. All right, last but not least, in regards to audio, DJI has this amazing little $99 product called the Mic 2, which you can see right there. That thing is unreal. It's so good at filtering out wind, and it's got to be the best little wireless mic upgrade you can buy for 99 bucks. It also works with your phone, but as you might have guessed it doesn't work with GoPros. One other thing, I feel like this audio test is just, the DJI is just destroying the GoPro. This GoPro almost seems worse than the last year. I'm gonna mess with a couple of the wind noise settings to see if I can get the GoPro to sound better, and I'm also gonna show you how good this mic sounds when you're going downhill and you clip it right onto the chest mount. Because even with all the headwind and all the bike noise and all the dirt and tire noise, this thing still records so good, which is so important for good, clean audio when you're shredding the gnar downhill, bro. Come on. All right, I know I said I wouldn't mess with the settings, but this is what the ultra-wide view looks like on the DJI. Woo! And the super view looks like on the GoPro. And you're hearing audio from the DJI Mic 2 connected to the chest mount from the DJI. And then the audio on the GoPro, I messed with the settings a bit because it was so bad in the wind. It's like useless for mountain biking. Oh. So, take a look at the wide views and hear how good that Mic 2 works. Oh, that's a fun trail. These cameras are obviously direct competitors to each other and have a lot more things similar to one another than different. Each one has pros and cons when it comes to different accessories you can buy for it and the ecosystems you get to enjoy, whether that's GoPro's ecosystem or DJI's ecosystem. What I think is important between these two cameras, at least 5 things you should consider without getting too detailed here between the two of them. Price point, the Osmo Action 5 Pro is $349, and that includes one magnetic mount. The Hero 13 is $399, and the magnetic mount is sold separately for 25 bucks. Just something to consider. Not sure why I'm doing a hike a bike while I'm recording this, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Speaking of gotta do what you gotta do, battery life. The Osmo Action 5 Pro says 240 minutes, I think, and the GoPro says 150. That's a 1080p recording, but in real world use case, when you're turning the thing on and off all the time and also doing 4K 30, Action 5 Pro is smoking it. Just for reference, a lot of my testing, the battery has lasted, I would say about 30 to 40% longer on the Action 5 Pro, but literally just right now, the Action 5 Pro is at 62% and the GoPro is at 33%. And they were both charged to 100% and both have been doing the identical things this entire time. The mounting and vertical filming setup is a little bit different between these two cameras. The take DJI has on it is they have this little frame that comes with the camera that wraps around it, and then you can switch the magnetic mount really easily, vertical, horizontal. GoPro's idea is that you film in a higher resolution, which it does, this camera does film in a much higher resolution, above 4K. And you film in basically a giant square almost, I think an 8x7, and then you're supposed to crop in on that and cut it out to vertical or horizontal as you see fit. I don't know which one is right or wrong, but the post-production is kind of harder on the GoPro side because you have to do some editing stuff, whereas at DJI you just flip the camera, but you have to have that little cage on there. Without that little cage, the Action 5 Pro is slightly lighter and slightly smaller. Not by much, almost identical, but every gram counts when you're a weight weenie, so had to mention it. Last but not least, DJI has put 47 gigabytes of internal storage in the Action 5 Pro. I think that's a brilliant idea. I never thought of that and don't know why no one's ever done it, because now you basically don't need to remember an SD card, and or if your SD card corrupts while you're out using the camera, you can still record all of your footage. I just thought that was brilliant. And yeah, the audio situation. I think you guys already saw the whole deal with that. GoPro just hasn't quite figured it out, and there's not like a really good solution. They don't have a little cool wireless mic thing that works incredibly well for the camera and for your phone and other devices. So, I don't know. Those are a few things, handful of things that I think are important to consider here. Audio sync. How's that one for you? Well, if you've made it this far, I genuinely thank you very much. Please, please drop a comment below on what you thought of each one of these cameras and the footage that they produced. I'm seriously curious because cameras these days are pretty tough to distinguish. Some win in some cases and some win in other cases, and lighting and personal preference on how people like the colors to look like. Let me know down below in the comments. I'm doing my best to try and give you guys all the best sort of general overview of how the two leading action cameras in the industry compare to each other, and in particular from a mountain biker's view. Please share this with a mountain biker friend of yours, and it means the world if you hit that subscribe button or thumbs up. Thank you, appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video.